Why, hello there.
Oh, hello there.
I'm Savi, and today on Savi Says, we are going to play RV There Yet. Get it? It's a play on the name of, stuff and greatness. Today on Savi Says, we're going to talk about nostalgia. Okay. I think it's one of those things that's, nostalgia's in, there we go. It's all around us, but I definitely feel it hits the gaming community quite hard because, if you've been playing games for a long while, you've experienced nostalgia because at one point you're like, hey, I remember that game. I should go back and play it. And I think a lot of people fall into a trap where they let nostalgia sort of get the best of them, and then they're disappointed with the experience because what they remember isn't quite or nearly at all the same to what their memories are showing them. So, first things first, if we're going to talk about nostalgia here on Savi Says, we have to define what nostalgia is. So, nostalgia is a sentimental longing or affection for the past, often connected with happy memories or simpler times. So, nostalgia is how you feel when something of potentially older times is in your life again. So, I definitely think it's definitely something that's big with gaming because I don't know about you, but I've been playing games for, my goodness, oh my gosh, slaps for almost 20 plus years, 20, like a long time. Oh my gosh, I finally found the engine. Perfect. So yeah, I think stop it. Everybody deals with it in different ways. Everybody has different outlooks on it. I definitely think it's a key part of the gaming industry because whether we realize it or not, it almost connects us in a weird way before the internet could even connect us. We'll get more into that. So, oh my gosh. I just clipped something and we destroyed the side of our RV. So with RV There Yet, let's dive into this game a little bit. We were camping with our friends and they've disappeared because now I'm playing by myself, sad days, and we have to drive home. That's pretty much it. So I loaded up the RV with a little bit. Oh boy. Rock slide. And now we're just driving home. Seems like quite a treacherous path. But yeah, we're just heading home. If you'd like to be involved with Savi Says, maybe suggest a game or a question that we talk about, head over to our Discord, link down below, and there's a complete section where we discuss what game's going to be in the background and the topic. It can be anything. It could be fun. It could be silly. It could be serious. There's a way to make your suggestion with anonymity. That's the word, right? All right. Next, we're supposed to go that way. It looks like we're not. I'm assuming that's what that rock slide was this closing in, and the construction workers came by super quick and shut it down. That's my guess. So yeah, nostalgia in video games. Is this gonna work? Like, this kind of looks like it'll work. Yeah, I think so. There's definitely sort of two tiers of nostalgia that I'm gonna try and talk about. I feel a lot of nostalgia towards video games is maybe more of an emotional over a technical. And when I say technical, I mean like, wow, this game was so technologically advanced. Like it changed gaming. And there is some of those with the older games. All right, bored. But I definitely feel it's definitely more of an emotional response. Everybody was younger, they didn't have, bills to pay. They just really, they were enjoying life. They were a kid. Like, how do you not enjoy life? I don't know if this is going to work. We do have a winch on the front of our RV. There's the old opening there that I've destroyed. Whoops. We can fix our RV, so maybe I'll try. Yes, let's repair it. We picked up some scrap metal at the beginning, and that's how we repair. Oh, that's how we repair our RV. Wow, I absolutely mangled our RV there up the start. Good job, me. Yeah, I think a lot of it is definitely more of an emotional response. Like, technically, I wouldn't say a lot of video games hold up over time. They may in our minds, but then if you ever go back to play them, come on. Oh my gosh, we did it. We're gonna go steal one of those boards. I did it with our, oh gosh. I did it with our side door open too. Didn't clip anything. Big. All right. Yeah, a lot of games don't stand up. And that makes sense. If you drive a car from, we'll say, the 70s, it's not going to run as smooth. You're not going to have your Bluetooth, be able to just hook up. Times change, games change, they progress. So I think there's going to be maybe like some technology nostalgia. Like, hey, this was, the game that introduced having lives. This game introduced, all these different things. But I don't think a lot of them will be like, oh my gosh, this game looked so good. Ignore my terrible driving right now. This game looked so good back then. Because they didn't. Like, let's be honest. But at the time, that's all that could be done. So the nostalgia back then was for like, wow, this is like the beginning of the video game industry, I'm hearing things. They don't sound fun. I'm gonna steal scrap metal? Are those snakes? Oh, I don't like that lotion. Okay. Antidote seems good. What's this? Bear spray. Well, I want all of this stuff. This seems like stuff I need. Yeah. So I think that's sort of your technical versus your emotional. Obviously, with the emotional stuff, I can't attach this. What? Oh. With the emotional response, it's, hey, yeah, I'm a young kid. I'm enjoying life. This is great. I don't have a care in the world. So I definitely think that's where most of the nostalgia comes from. Next, we're going to talk about like your memory versus your actual reality. When you're a kid, everything's great. You don't have to worry about where's my next car payment coming from? Where's any of that stuff. You're like, hey, I don't mind sitting for 45 seconds to a minute on a load screen because I don't have a care in the world. I don't have to go make dinner later. I can just enjoy this. Enjoy the experience. So And, you know, like, oh, it doesn't work as good as it used to. Oh, that's right on there. That's not good. And it's moving now. Is it coming out? Let's hope not. We got a snake in there too. But the cowboy hat, I want it. I'm putting it on. I've stolen the hat. The snakes can have the rest. That's good. I think a lot of people fall into this where they remember the emotions they felt when they were playing these older games instead of, my goodness, this game was, you know, so good. I think it's a combination. And that's what nostalgia does, is it makes you remember the good things and you ignore the bad things. Like when you want to play your Super Nintendo games and the cartridges wouldn't work and you had to blow in them, which apparently did nothing. But at the time you're like, whoa, this is cool, I know a secret hack because you heard it from Kenny at school that helps. It doesn't help at all, apparently. If it does, let me know in the comments and let me know why. Okay? I want to know why. So I think our memory is all a little skewed because you don't remember the times where you're sitting doing nothing, waiting for games to play, or every time it crashes. Like, it has to be quite a terrible experience for you not to remember it. It has to be a terrible experience for you to remember it. Like the water world in The Legend of Zelda. Everybody can discuss that with how much they hated it. Because it was terrible. Nobody liked it. Beer? Yes, please. So, I think our memories are skewed a little bit when it comes to remembering these sorts of things. But that's not a bad thing. Your memory's going to do that with anything. It's not just video games. So that's okay. That's just how memory works. You tend to remember the good times, and, you know, as maybe a protection method, you kind of forget the bad times. That's all right. That's allowed. I'm on board with that. You know, so yeah, I think our memory is a little skewed sometimes when it comes to these games and how they made us feel. But once again, in a simpler time, we didn't know any different, right? Once again, with simplicity on the technical side, sometimes the older games had much more to them because they needed to be creative to work. They didn't just work all the time. You couldn't be like, oh, well, I need you to fly. Well, you know what? Sometimes with flying, they had to make the world move around you instead of you move through the world. So the design has changed for sure. And that's just because technology's gotten significantly better. And I think that's fine. You know, you can appreciate the older technology for what it was at the time because you're like, hey, at this time, we didn't even have the internet. And this is what we were able to come up with. So I definitely think it's, you know, that part you're allowed to be nostalgic about because, you know, it's your memory of it. You appreciated it, you liked it, it may have affected you in some way. Probably a good one. Or a terrible one. You're allowed to have, you know, think of things and be like, wow, that nostalgically sucked. I feel like another thing that nostalgia does for video games is just how much cultural and historical impact a video game can have. You know, you may not have ever played Nintendo. Oh gosh, what is happening? Oh no. I think that's a bear. He's destroying my RV. Get out of here. You prick. Oh my gosh. He literally destroyed it. Alright, well. Let's try and put it together. Right. So, I don't know if I want this door put back in. I'm gonna leave the door off. You've maybe never played a Nintendo game. You know who Mario is. Sorry. There's no getting around that. Mario has had a cultural impact on the world. As well as, like, a historical one, you know? Nintendo actually just released, they don't know if they're ever going to outsell Mario Kart. They just don't think it will happen. Because it has had such a large impact on the world. So many people have played it. So many people have bought it. And, you know, these games, they're just another way of telling a story. And it's kind of neat that so many people have experienced the same story in a way. And I think that's another cool nostalgia thing, is the community behind video games, be it the early 90s when, you know, internet was almost not accessible, to now where you can talk for hours or make an entire video, as I'm doing right now, about video games. Just the community and the shared experience behind video games is absolutely insane to me. Because I'm going to go back to The Legend of Zelda. How many people hated the water temple? It was just, you talked about it at school. You know, you discussed it with friends on how to beat it. It was a source of discussion before, you know, the internet. How crazy did it feel when you found that you could swim next to the SS Anne in the original Pokemon? That was all before, you know, the internet. So you discussed this with people and you learned it. You tried it. You know, your first Pokemon trade with somebody at school was just the most insane thing. Because you're like, my gosh, this is where we're at right now. This is so cool. So I think the community behind video games and the nostalgia with them is real. You know, there's people who I've met later in life, and you know, we lived in different parts of the world, but we can relate to one another because we had a shared experience with video games on something that they were playing probably completely different than I was at potentially even a different time in our lives. You know, it's a unifier, I find video games can be, because like I said, everybody, for the most part, if you're being told the same story, for the most part, you get the same reaction. You know the same thing. And it's just, you can then discuss with others, hey, yeah, I get this. This is cool. Let's talk about it. So I think that's the biggest thing with video games, is the community that's behind them. And then, you know, that's part of the nostalgia. You know, you can talk to people about games that are 20 years old and enjoy yourself. You know, sure, you may have been in different parts of your life and all that, but you can communicate with them. And it, like, different generations play different games. So I don't think it's bad to introduce older games to a younger generation, because it's sometimes nice to show them where they came from. Like, how come a video game is like this? Well, because of this, you know, this is how it got there. I think it's a really neat sort of thing that video games does. It has, for the most part, I can't drop this here. Shucks. it has a history that's brought along with it. And for the most part, it's been pretty well documented. My goodness, this looks terrible. Or you go through the mud, which seems not good. Seems much better, but yeah, I think video game nostalgia is real. I think it does make some games seem better than they are, but that's probably because they were. They weren't as good. They're not great, but for the time they were really good because that's all we had, and it was a story and an experience, and we could all share that experience, which is kind of neat. So I think that's a good place to wrap up our first episode of Savi Says. We're going to have a seat in our RV, have a little smoke, and go that way. Stand up exactly how you think they will, but if you look at them for what they're worth and put yourself in the right headspace, I think you can really enjoy them. And I don't think it's a bad thing to enjoy nostalgic feelings. Because if it brings you happiness, it can't be that bad, right? Thank you for watching the first episode of Savi Says. I would love to do more of this series. I would love to explore more games. This was RV There Yet. I think this would be an absolute hoot to play with multiple players. I did it by myself. I don't think I can bring myself to go full RV off-roading yet. So if you are interested, let me know in the comments below if you want to see this game. If you have a question, feel free to ask in the comments if you don't mind posting it in the open. If you would like to anonymously send it, head over to our Discord. We have that option. And yeah, suggest some games for me to play, and we'll go from there. I hope you enjoyed this. I want you all to take it with a grain of salt. I'm not a trained professional. I'm just a guy sitting at a computer, and you decided to watch me. If you've gotten to this point, I greatly appreciate it, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one. See ya. Bye.